everybody. Oh, hi. Welcome to the Blathering Live. I'm Ken Napzok. And yeah, that's not the official theme song at all. But I was going through some old audio files, and that was a music piece I used. If you remember, Saturday Night Napzok fans will remember, hopefully, two of you, the episode that I played the lost pilot of my late night talk show. And that was the song I found. And I dug through Audio Jungle for days, actually probably an hour, to find the right song. And, you know, when you play it again, this is a late night. If I had a late night talk show, this is what I'd have. Hey, I could have a late night talk show right here. This is kind of it. Hey, welcome to the show. Here we go. Let's do this. We're going to get right to calls real soon. We have 60 seconds of science today down at 17:30. Don't forget we use a military clock around here. 24-hour clock, kids. 17:45 calls. 1800. Producer Steve, we got some sports, and Steve has asked. He's asked for some time tonight. You know, Producer Steve has been sick. He's been sick as a dog, and he's better, and he's back, and we're going to do some sports, continue our sports blind dating. Rugby is up, I believe, but I'll let Steve explain all that, and also some other stuff. And then after that, we will do the Super Blathers. If you got any super chats, any questions, you can hit me, and we'll do that at the end of the show here. Oi, oi, David Mackay is here. Addie says, love military time. She's a professor of smart things. She knows. She knows. You know, it is hard for me because I don't math well. So, you know, when you have to subtract 12 from the number to get the regular time, it can confuse me. But over the years, used it for so long that it matters. Chris Kiefer's here says afternoon all. That's a lie for all of you except for Chris and I. Beautiful rainy day. Beautiful rainy day indeed. I just about 5 minutes before the show stepped outside into a nice little drizzle. It's been off and on all day, and that's kind of my sunshine. That's probably why I love garbage so much. It only happy when it rains. It was gloomy and rainy day here. We've got Steve wants time. Does he have money? Yeah, Steve has notes today. There you go. Jake's here. Detective McCarsel's here. Says, I prefer military time since most people don't use it as default to 12 hour. Yeah, unless you're like over in Europe, right? I felt at home over there with that. What else is going on? I'm excited to be here. It's not been the best of weeks in the world. It's not been the best of weeks in my own life. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're here. We're here. And that's what this show's about. Sometimes we push through. You know what I mean? Like the show if you can. Hey, Brandon at Fake Nerd Podcast is here, but don't go to there. Go to his blog. We'll run that link in a bit. Vermont Mike's here as well. I do have a question up here. So here we go. Let's see if I do this right here. Okay, yeah, I can switch on the back end. So I did a question as opposed to a poll. And that is, what is a food dish you think you love, but it ends up being too much to handle? And Steve says, happy Thursday. That's not the answer we need. Kingsport Cow says, it's hard to finish. Is it hard to finish a turkey leg? I think not. But then that's not your answer, Kingsport Cow. I didn't want to give my answer right away, but I think I will share the answer right now. The answer for me is pancakes. And I went to breakfast the other day with my cousin and his new wife. So I guess cousin by marriage. I don't know how that works. But we had a nice breakfast. I had a big breakfast burrito. But then we also had some matcha green tea pancakes or something. They were really good. And it just made me realize all my life I've been like, oh, yeah, I love pancakes. And I probably prefer waffles. But this is about the pancakes. Oh, yeah, I love pancakes. And then I'll order a stack. 2 bites in, I can't handle it anymore. It's too much. It's not even just the sweetness. It's not even that they're cooked bad. It's as a concept, the pancakes work for me. Whereas like a big burrito, that breakfast burrito I had, devoured it in record time. Again, you're looking at someone right here who went to a place called the Ventana Grill. I think it's still in my hometown. Who knows anymore? Overlooks the beach in Shell Beach, California. Used to order a burrito. and loved it. Finished clean plate club for me. And then one day a waiter looks at me and goes, I have never seen anyone finish that before. I wore it as a badge of honor. Probably what's going to put me in my grave. So anyways, that's my answer. Laser Bolt says pancakes are a bit rich. Rich T says, I'm not sure if I understood the question. See, yeah, it's fair. If I'm eating something, I love it. It's never too much. But that's the thing. That's the question. It's you say, oh, I love lasagna. Oh, I love lasagna. And then halfway through every bit of lasagna, and it's not just about age. It's just like, oh, this is too much. Like Laserbolt said about pancakes. It's too rich, or it's too this, or too much. And so maybe we have to face the fact today. I don't think I'm a pancake fan, and I have to accept that. That's what this is about today, accepting the hard truths, and I don't think pancakes are for me. Beard meats food can eat about anything but pancakes from up. It's so true. That's true. Late Nightfall Productions, Adam Knight says lobster. Okay, yeah, I don't love. I can't remember the last time I've actually had lobster. It's not my thing. That is not my thing. It's so weird why the questions pop up. I don't know. I guess if you answer the question, if you're in chat and you answer the question directly, maybe that's where it comes up. Addie says, I can't answer the Q&A, but triple chocolate dessert. Yeah, I don't know why the Q&A. Well, I'm asking now. But yeah, that's kind of the, that's a good answer. The trip, like, ooh, actually, quite frankly, cake kind of is in that category for me too. We're talking about the important things here. Don't worry, we'll have some science. We got 60 seconds of science. We're going to talk about Elon Musk and his attack on empathy. We're going to talk about a lot today. I've got an anniversary. We got an anniversary to celebrate this week. You know that, right? We got a big anniversary today of one thing I did that the world experienced. But we're talking, cake, pancakes, cake. I guess there's a bit of a connection there. Like little piece of cake, good to go. But when I'm at one of those fancy restaurants and you're like, ooh, yeah, please show me the dessert tray. Ooh, and then you end up barfing up your cake in the parking lot. Just me? Okay, just me. James Holmes checking in from the UK says, do you have Pringles over there? Yes, we do. Once you pop, you can't stop. It's a true advertising line. But yeah, so that's an example of something that you can't lay off of, and that we'll do on another show. The addictions. Choice says I had matcha pancakes once. Worst breakfast of my life. They were so dry. 90% matcha and 10% pancakes. That might be it. That might be all the mix. Important stuff here today. We're gonna get to calls real quick here tonight because I don't have a ton to say today. I kind of just I wish I could do this show. I don't want to leave you all, but I wish I could do this show in the rain. I occasionally, every couple days, I go through Facebook, and I always say, and it's true, check some birthdays that are upcoming, maybe some birthdays I missed or catch one late in the day. And then I'll always check the memories. Oh, memories, misty watercolor memories of the Facebook posts that were. And I will just check. I always want to, did everything I put online, did it need to be online? Maybe not. But I haven't found anything totally egregious yet. I haven't found anything totally irresponsible yet. I think I took down one comment maybe last year. I saw one, and I was like, that was kind of a joke, but I don't know if that'll be taken as a joke, and I wouldn't make the joke anymore. Shout out to James Holmes checking off. Go check it out. Going to bed as he deserves. Thank you, James. So I was going through the Facebook memory, and today, 5 years ago, on what is both, I think I posted it on Instagram, but then it automatically have it set up to cross promote to Facebook. So it was a Facebook memory. 5 years ago today, I posted Don't Panic. Used the logo from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And that was because we were hearing these reports, things were happening, and this thing, the coronavirus, was popping up. And it had been since the end of 2019. We first heard some things, and we all made our corona jokes. Not everyone. But our Corona beer jokes were made, and then someone got it here, one case there, and then the run on toilet paper, and then in March 6, 2020, I posted "Don't panic," and the reason I say that is number one, "Don't panic" is a pretty solid idea across the board. Don't panic, but two, it was a valuable lesson in my own life of we are well past the norms and we were well past the lines being held, even though I still think lines can be held. And I still have faith, even now today, that our political structure will hold the line. It's a dwindling faith, but I still hold it. And it was on this day 5 years ago, I, for the last time, posted a, man, don't worry about it vibe and put it out into the world. This was March 6th. Within a couple days, things were getting a little more scary. We were in Las Vegas. Weird vibes in Las Vegas. We weren't even masking up yet. We didn't know what was going on. Just everyone doing a lot of hand sanitizer. Did a comedy show in Vegas. Got back. Went straight to Anaheim and was in Disneyland on a Thursday. But it was that Wednesday night that Sports League started to shut down. We weren't sure we should have been at Disneyland. It was a rainy day. Got through the day, did my only time at Galaxy's Edge. We left, and they announced as we were getting ready to leave, Disneyland was going to be shut down Saturday. Don't worry, only 2 weeks. And I'll say all that because number one, and Adam Knight's pointed out, 5 years already. 5 years already. It's that's a separate conversation. But it was for me. It was the last time of willfully not paying attention. Again, I want to have hope, and I want to believe the systems we have in place will work. But I remember the reason I posted "Don't panic" was from a point of view that was dismissive of everything going around. By this point, my political leanings were changing, rapidly changing. But 2020 was the year that changed me completely. It was the final flip of the page. And it is about being plugged in and being aware. And even though sometimes we need to turn it off. And I saw that today and was thinking, wow, if the Ken who posted "Don't panic" would watch the Blathering now, I'd probably panic that some of the stuff that's said on this show, some of the stuff we cover, some of the stuff we talk about. We still talk about pancakes and how many pieces of cheese I can eat in a day. But 5 years ago today was the last time I really posted something carelessly. And I can't go back and change it, but I can definitely go back and learn about it. So as we look at measles, as we look at bird flu, and as we look at the agencies covering it, following it, researching it, alerting people about it, being affected by what's going on, I'm always going to choose. I'm always going to choose a little bit of reason. I'm always going to choose a little bit of calmness in these emergency situations. That's just my old job. But hey, it's no longer about expect the unexpected. We have to be prepared. And that was my big lesson for today. And Laserbolt says, "So don't panic" is always good advice. And I will say the big reaction was to the run on toilet paper. I even did a joke. I don't know if anyone in our audience here now was in Vegas for that show at the Hard Rock. Ellis, me, Kaiser, Makuga. I even made some jokes about, we're not going to die of this coronavirus. We're going to die by not having enough toilet paper. Just a dumb, hacky little comic aside as I was up on stage. And that did not. It wasn't even that didn't age well. That didn't last a week. That kind of stuff. So there you go. Don't forget your towel. Thank you, Adam Knight, for the super chat there. I appreciate that. And he makes up a good point. Hey, man, we've all changed a ton in 5 years. Rich T says 2020 changed me a bit too. I wasn't right-leaning or anything, but I was uninformed. I think 2020 changed a lot of people, but also made a lot of people dig into what they believe in good and bad ways. But Rich T, your point is very well made there too. Where the uninformed was just kind of the status quo. It still probably is in a lot of ways, but the uninformed, because a lot of us, you weren't raised to be informed. You weren't raised to not just pick a side, but to be aware. In fact, to be informed often is viewed or was viewed, particularly back in the day, as annoying. It was a nuisance. Oh, this guy always talking about issues, always talking about politics. Oh, can't have any fun. And I think that's part of what's changed as well. We are going to get to some calls here, but since he's here, I always want to highlight our buddy Adam Knight and his book, Cowboy Ending, book one of the Overdrive series. Get it wherever books are sold or your book place of choice. And Adam, I don't know if you have a direct shop too. Let me know. We can always drop that in the link. My shop on kennapzok.com is finally, I've got it in my calendar of when to shut it down. I have been threatening to shut down my shop since late last year when they raised the price. It makes it just pointless to have a shop with the low amount of things I sell. But it's happening. So if there's some Star Wars collectibles on there, books, I'll still find a way to sell personalized copies of the book if you want it there. But that is going to be going down. But check out Adam's book. Please, please do that. Also, want to highlight my buddy in comedy, John Hastings. He's got a new special out. It's called Comedian John. He puts out so many wonderful specials. He's one of the hardest working comedians I know from the Great White North. But I met him over here at a show in a toy shop in Burbank. Just a great guy out there doing the good work out there. So check out John Hastings. Just search for it wherever online. Search for him on Instagram too. You can follow him and get all the information. I wanted to highlight my buddy's work there, and also as we've been highlighting here a lot because I think he's doing great work as well. Brandon McClure and his Bitching About Nothing Substack, entertainment news opinions. Scan that QR code or just search for it on Substack. Really believe in the work that Brandon does and what he brings to the entertainment world there. So we're going to get some calls going. And there's, well, see, look at that. I disagree with this. Here's Brandon right now saying, I used to have ambition before the pandemic. Now I just want to survive. I don't disagree with that. I want to survive. Today's one of the days where I'm like, I don't think I'm surviving. But working through it, even in live here on the show. But Brandon, you bring a lot of great things to the world. So keep at it, man. Keep at it. Serenity Jane's here. Hi, Ken. Hi, chat. Hello. All right, let's do this. Make sure. All right, so there's this new thing. I got it here. Let me see. Let me do this. What does that do? Okay, that does that. And then that does that. Oh, that's fascinating. StreamYard has added something new. So I think these calls are going to work. Oh, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this. First caller of the day. He was in real early. I don't think it's going to bring up your face, Chris. Let's check. It does. See? All right. That's not right. That's not right. This thing lied to me. Sorry, Chris. You look beautiful, by the way. The hoodie's wonderful. If I had done Jared first, we would have seen way more than we wanted. Way more than, well, actually, take it back. I would have wanted to see some of it. All right, Chris. All right. You're on the air, right, Chris? Let me see. All right. Yes. All right. Your work. It worked.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. And the hoodie I'm wearing is actually, it was going to be the last thing I tried to say to you, which is it's from a show that I think you might like. Did you ever watch Letterkenny? Ken, have you heard of it?
I've heard of Letterkenny. I didn't watch it all the time, but I'm definitely familiar with it. Yes. It's not from here, right? Is it Australia?
Canada, but it's there's a spin-off show called Shoresy, which is about a hockey team. It's a sports show. It's really funny. Got a lot of kind of very witty back and forth dialogue. I think it might be something you want to check out if you have Hulu. I'd recommend.
I do. Okay. Yeah. All right. Hold on. I'm going to write this down and really, really piss off Jared the Tide Pilot. When I'm done with Hacks, because I'm almost done with Hacks, I'm in season 3. I'm going to go, what is it called? Shoesy Pants? What is it?
Shoresy, before DS9. Yes, Shoresy.
Shoresy. Oh, yeah. No, DS9 is 19th on the list.
Good.
It's 19. Cool. Anyways, thank you for the recommendation, Chris.
Yeah.
What's on your mind today, man?
So... yeah, I think a lot of what I've been thinking about lately. So, I've been on the show before. I know it's been a bit, but I teach English, and I'm teaching William Shakespeare's Macbeth right now. And I think what's been really challenging, but also really enlightening, is teaching it in this day and age without having to make direct parallels to what's going on,
Yeah.
but also kind of seeing the things seeing how the themes and the ideas of the play present themselves in different ways to me. And so um, I don't know. I was thinking about well, I don't. First of all, I don't want to assume you or any other listener, like I don't know if you've read Macbeth or know Macbeth that well, but like so it's I don't need to give a synopsis of the play, but have you read it before or have you watched it?
I have. First of all, you're right to question my.
Not you, not just you.
You're right. No, you're right to question my artistic class levels. I did study Shakespeare for a year in high school. I was in one Shakespearean play, playing the part of Old Gobbo, Merchant of Venice. If I was to non go, oh yeah, Macbeth, one of my favorites. That'd be a lie. I don't remember a lot of any of Shakespeare, even the lines of Old Gobbo that I recited 30 years ago. So please, a quick summary so we can connect.
No, so basically, he's a Scottish noble who he's visited. He encounters these three witches. He's told he's going to become the king. It unlocks this ambition in him, and he and his wife kill the king, and he takes over, and the craziness ensues. So you have this man who has this ambition for power and takes it, I would say usurps it in some ways, which, hey, definitely can't make any parallels nowadays or to 4 to 5 years ago. But, I guess what I really wanted to talk about was this idea of there's this, we're nearly finishing up the play. Our spring break is next week. And there's this great conversation throughout the whole play about masculinity and how this one character, Macduff, his whole family is, spoiler alert for a 400-year-old play, but his whole family is killed by Macbeth. Yeah. And Macbeth is spending the whole play suppressing his guilt and not owning up to his guilt, and Macduff hears what happens to his family, and he calls himself Sinful Macduff. He takes accountability, and the heir to be the king, Malcolm, the king's son, who Macduff is going to work with to try to retake Scotland. He tells Macduff, the heir, he says, dispute it like a man or fight like a man. And Macduff goes, aye, but first I must feel it as a man. And again, takes responsibility for the fact that he's not there as a father. And it follows this whole scene where his wife was upset where he wasn't there for them. And I was talking to my students today that this idea of, there's a difference between taking versus defending, and even, and being a carer for some things versus letting your ambition go unchecked. And I think that's a lot of, because strength's not wrong. I even said to them, I go, like, Lady Macduff, if Macduff had been there when when Macbeth's killers had showed up, she wouldn't have said, hey, throw down your sword and just have a conversation with them. She would have said, kick some ass and whatever. Right. But so it's okay to have strength. It's okay to have these quote unquote masculine traits. It's this idea of traditional masculinity and femininity in the play. But it's when it's kind of all of that, right? When we let that lead our actions. And so just seeing that in what I think is, and it's funny because to me it's coming from the least masculine men possible, but but that idea, that image of what masculinity is. I don't know.
Yeah. Joseph Fiennes. Yeah. Sorry, did I cut you off? Yeah. This is great stuff.
Go ahead.
The question, and again, 400-year-old play, but the themes remain the same. And I'm with you too. I even talk about it in my stand-up a little bit when I'm actually on stage, which hasn't been a lot these days, I will unfortunately say. But
that's their loss. I've seen you before. So
I'd love some clubs to return some emails. That's all I'll say. But I have, the thought of, masculinity built on love could change the world. But masculinity built on Cybertrucks and crypto is literally burning the world up. And I stand by that in the sense of I understand if it goes into the bigger issue, the roguification of so much stuff of just like, it's easy to convince a lot of men, particularly young straight males. I'm not even saying white straight males, just young males across the board, as we've even seen this last election, that they feel that they feel othered, they feel under attack, they feel that they don't have a place, and it's easy to have that misconstrued by good attempts to address the issues, whether it's a patriarchy or masculinity, and just what we're taught, kind of what you're talking about. Take it like a man, act like a man.
Yep.
Which strength and protection are part of it, but it's the emotions of it and everything behind it. So yeah, it runs true. And all that to say, my big question to you, Chris, is what is when you get and I totally get where you're having these discussions about 400-year-old pieces of art and not going, and what do you all think about Elon? Like not like you can't. And nowadays I'd be afraid if you did, because I don't want you to end up in some gulag somewhere because of this administration.
Be my last blathering call.
Yeah, be my last, or you know, maybe you're the one call. We're the one call from prison. But I wish sometimes we have to knock people over the heads. But I do like this idea of kind of doing this. Huh? Does it resonate? Does it connect? Are you feeling with it? Because that's how in talking about Star Wars, we never, especially in the early days. Now I think on Force Center we can be a little bit more direct, much to people's chagrin. But early on, talking about Rogue One, or I'm talking about back then. I'm not talking about like Bad Batch or Andor Season 1, but back then, talking about the big themes. A lot of them that are in what you're talking about here. There was no hammer on the head of, and this is why you should vote this way. But I just remember thinking, this more lines up with the person I want to be, and it more lines up with where my heart is versus some of the things I was raised to think or act. And are any of the kids, particularly the young men in your classes, are they reacting to this? What are the conversations like?
You know, I hate to stereotype the young men. I'm teaching 10th grade, and it's not
That's
like
the age.
Thank you, Lauren. And by the way, I think I saw Addie in the chat. I want to answer your question, Ken, but I think I saw Addie mention the Hamilton lyric. Addie, I actually opened my Hamilton, my Hamilton unit, my Macbeth unit, with comparing Shakespeare to Lin-Manuel Miranda, and we watch Take a Break and we talk about it. So. There is musical theater in my class as well, but the young men I think they're maybe more quiet about it, and maybe more, I don't know. There's a lot of there's a few of them that are getting, a couple of them that are getting it. They're not being outspoken necessarily in their writing. I think I'm seeing it more. Sure. But a lot of my younger, I would say my female students, and I think that's just more the maturity of it. They're more interested in it. They're more, I think they just also, I think they're just more, I think they just like to read more, and they're more interested in the themes of it all. I'm not generalizing.
Chris, let's just say it. Women are smarter.
I mean, 100%. I was helping another student with an essay on it's Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and she's talking about how like there's these double standards in this honor code where women are have to be pure and are demonized for the promiscuity, where men are like champion for it. And I was like, she's like my teacher said I should write this paragraph about the men, but I don't want to write it about the men. And I looked at her and I go, I know. Her name's Amelia. I go, Amelia, men are the worst. I was like, we suck. And I know we do. And she was like, yeah, you guys do. I was like, I know we do. And I was like, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to even but no, it's leading to some interesting conversations. I've kind of said like, hey, because I also, the school I teach at has an international community. So I have to say like, we can see this in the world. And if you want to talk about it with Trump, or if you want to talk about it with Putin, or if you want to talk about it with North Korea, if you like, you could go to so many different places with it, with this ruler. But yeah, it's All
right, you're doing the work, the Lord's work, if that works for you. But yeah, no, and look, I think it's important. Yeah, I think it's okay to not attach it directly, because it is unfortunately pretty universal, right? It's unfortunately, you could tell the story in Shakespeare or Star Wars or just with the news headlines. It is unfortunate human nature, and the phrase toxic masculinity is one I almost don't like using, because it's one of those buzz phrases that shuts people off from the conversation.
Yep.
And it's not inaccurate, but it's one that I find when talking about it, is taken as a sling and an arrow against them, right? Like, I can't even be a man anymore. Okay, but what does that mean to you? Let's talk about what being a man is. But that's not where I like to start my conversations. Doesn't mean I don't think it's accurate, but
No,
yeah,
100%. And I just want to add one thing, and then I
please.
know before we get into some science and some other great stuff tonight is you brought up Star Wars, and you know I don't always want to make the blathering a Star Wars show because I know you have Force Center, but I was thinking so much today with this thinking of defense and protection. And at my school, I'm the faculty sponsor. We have a strong Eastern European Ukrainian presence at our school. I'm the faculty
Nice.
sponsor for that. I'm as pale and Irish as they come, but one of my students who I'm very close with, she has a Ukrainian background, and you know, I never want to. I always go to the art to, I think, amplify and understand what's going on in the world, and I could not think more of Zelensky as a Jedi as I have today with this idea of defense. You know, he has, especially now, he has, you know, these totally, just liars. Let's call them liars because that's what they are.
And morons.
Morons
surrounding him.
Yes, and saying, you know, oh, you did that. He defended his country. He's a fighter not because he chose to be, but because he had to be. And he's the strongest one in that room. And he's also the quietest voice, right? He's not the one who's yelling. He's not the one, you know, he's so much of Luke in Return of the Jedi or in Last Jedi. And I just, you know, I just think that's the beautiful thing about art is that, you know, it came out 40 years ago, or Last Jedi came out, close to 10 years ago now. And it's like, we can see things nowadays and it's like, yeah, you know what George was saying, what Ryan was saying, those things still apply. And like, and there's a reason why I think they're timeless stories in that way. And I don't know. I just, and I look at a leader like that, and that's what I wish we had. Sorry, go ahead.
Look at the lessons of Poe Dameron. It wasn't that his strength and his skills weren't needed and his desire to win and protect, but look what it's where it starts out of. It is the get your head out of the cockpit line of Leia that is so true of, yeah, look what I did. I'm strong. Let's run in. Let's do it. And you nearly lost us everything. But it does not mean that your desire to fight, your ability to fight, your desire to protect is not wrong. Who you are is not wrong. Your bravery is not wrong. We just gotta where and what are you fighting for? You know, that's the key. So now, great stuff.
100%, man. Well, and I want to say too, you know what, you're barely surviving. Ken, again, what did you and Force Center just do on Friday? You guys were fundraising for two great causes. You're defending, and one of them was a trans cause. You guys are defending. You guys are protecting. You're in the fight, man. You're doing the good work. So I just, you know, no problem. I thank you. Yeah.
All right, Chris, thank you. Keep us updated on the young men of America, and if there's any hope.
there's pinpricks of hope.
Pinpricks of light and hope.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris. Chris calling in here. Love that there. Yeah, good stuff, heavy stuff. You know, we got deep into Shakespeare there. I did, you know, I enjoyed my time in it. I'm glad I spent my time in Shakespeare. It was not always my favorite. But I had a lot of fun being in it, and a lot of fun saying the lines. All right, but I wasn't, deep in it. But no, good stuff. Lessons. So we are going to get to what do we got? Oh, I set a deadline for. Look at that! I set a 5:30 deadline to start 60 seconds of science. I'm already behind. All right, let's do this here. Let's bring in Addie. Jared is going to get to yell at me about DS9 after that. So here we go. Addie, how are you?
Up and not crying, Ken.
Up and not crying. Cheers indeed. Cheers indeed. I'm one of those things. I've been up today. The other part I failed on. All right, Addie, we're going to get into some 60 seconds of science. I want to tee you up fast, get right to it here, but I'll give you one chance to talk about musicals.
I just want you to watch Wicked or Hamilton.
Okay.
Dealer's choice.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And if you watch it before you watch DS9, I win.
And Jared loses, and that's what's important here today. That's what's important here today. All right, sounds good. I will find a way. I'll find a way. The movie versions are fine. Well, there's not a movie version of Hamilton, but I can watch the performance.
But it's on Disney Plus.
It's on Disney Plus. That's right. I've seen that. Okay, there you go. Let's do this. Addie, our resident professor of smart things, calls in with some 60 seconds-ish of science. What's going on in science? Is there any hope? Addie, take it away.
Okay, here we go. U.S. embassies around the globe shut down local air quality monitoring that began in 2008. In many places, these were the only reliable measurements available to the general population. Budget constraints were cited. Butterfly populations are plummeting across the U.S., a new study finds. Since 1950, 5 species have gone extinct and another 29 are considered endangered. Scientists are using ancient rocks to better understand the composition of Earth's atmosphere billions of years ago. By analyzing pockets of air in the rocks, geologists have been able to change our understanding of the abundance of oxygen on early Earth. Ancient humans used bone tools 1 million years earlier than previously believed. Findings in Tanzania join findings in Ethiopia that are over 1.4 million years old. And the extra X chromosome may be why women are living longer and are less susceptible to cognitive decline. Scientists previously believed the second X was silent and didn't do much, but it seems it wakes up with age. And that, Ken, was 60 seconds of science. Where would you like to go?
So there's a place I'm going to go, and then I'll gladly give you one that, hey, maybe if we need to talk about it, you want to talk about it, because I sometimes go for the more direct ones. But I want to talk about the butterflies. The reason I want to talk about the butterflies is I was raised in Arroyo Grande, Pismo Beach, California. In Pismo, there is one of the monarch butterfly stops. So every year the monarchs make the trip up, and then they make the trip back down. They might generally always be there, but there's times of the year where you could go, and it was breathtaking. And it's just this tiny little plot of land. It's just like for decades upon decades, the butterflies just go to these like 19 trees in a little grove. They, again, along the way, there might be some stops, but like in our town, but in that town, this is where they go. It's the Monarch Butterfly Club. I was there last year, and my niece, my sister, my nephew, we were all there, and we went there, and there was noticeably less. And all the park rangers who were there, who might just be volunteered, I don't know if they're actually part of the park system. I don't know. Doesn't matter. They were all giving their speeches, the docent kind of speech, and they were all like, the numbers are dwindled. And I just kind of remember looking around going, does anyone hear this? It's like when the bees are gone, the butterflies are gone. What's happened? And does no one connect any dots? And it gets, in my layman mind, Addie, it gets frustrating when it's just right in front of you. Or in this case, not right in front of you. You know?
Yeah. So it's a combination of you can probably guess, pesticides use is increased, and then climate change is shrinking the amounts of suitable habitats, particularly in the southwestern United States. And so just those two things combined, and both of them would be very easily fixed. Protecting habitats, using fewer pesticides could turn this around. But
Again, it's myriad reasons and everything, but just especially I live in a or was raised in a hometown where currently now it sways massively conservative, high agriculture area. None of that's a problem in theory, but when you have a lot of climate change deniers in the town who are also like, isn't it weird the butterflies aren't there anymore? It was really frustrating and sad to experience, because it used to be something that you could literally look through a telescope, and what you thought was a tree and green and leaves is actually thousands of butterflies. Now you're like, oh, there's like some butterflies on that tree. And it was just depressing, among other things. So anyways, you made me think of that. Want to talk about that, but where do you want to go?
Oh, I really didn't pick one this week because I
Dealer's
figured
choice.
we'd talk about things. I purposely didn't pick the story I could rant about. That wasn't included.
Well, why?
Because I didn't feel like boring everyone with my rant about the EPA.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, no, yeah, what is this, Ghostbusters? We don't want to talk about the vile EPA. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
No one wants to hear me rant about the EPA. My students get it enough.
Is there any hope in those headlines? Anything that you look at and think?
I think there's a lot of hope in these headlines. I could have given you a lot more doom and gloom this week, and instead we have ancient air and bone tools. And
I do. And you said a million years?
Chromosomes doing things.
Well, so not only are you smarter now, Addie, but you're only going to get better, right?
I'm only going to get better. Like a fine wine. My second X chromosome's going to kick in and things are just going to get better.
Brandon Hanna, who we got to get back on the show real quick here. We can talk about more Elon Musk lies, Brandon, on Saturday if you want. Please rant about the EPA. Yeah. I mean, I got to get some calls. I don't want you to go for an hour, but
it's less a rant about the EPA and more that when I explain my biggest frustration about the EPA to people, they're dumbstruck because they didn't realize this about the EPA. The EPA has absolutely no power.
Just like the Ghostbusters wanted.
It has been that the EPA has had its legs cut out from under it thanks to lobbyists and government policy and whatnot. And my biggest gripe about the EPA and my favorite fact about the EPA that tends to shock people is that most chemicals are not capable of being regulated by the EPA. If I were to manufacture a new chemical tomorrow and take it to market, I don't have to do anything to prove that it is safe to humans or the environment to begin selling it. The EPA only has regulatory power after market. Once a chemical is on the market and is causing harm to humans or the environment, that is when the EPA can step in and do something about it. So let that one sink in and
that's a big
tell
oopsie.
me if you think the EPA can do anything.
That's yeah. Okay, so that's a oopsie. That's wrong. We got to correct it. Kind of a way of looking at it. How do we? It's always been like this. Why is there perception that it's not like this?
I don't believe it's always been like this because, like, the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act, which were created at the inception of the EPA, regulated chemicals. Now, granted, we regulated chemicals that we had kind of already figured out were bad for us. But I truly believe it's entirely due to lobbyists and the typical bureaucratic processes that control these sorts of things. But so I went on this rant recently because we just got done talking about air quality in one of my classes. And I talk about this in relation to air quality because the list of pollutants that are regulated by the EPA in air is the same 6 pollutants that have been regulated since the Clean Air Act was passed in 1970. That's never been changed.
Never been changed. Okay. Let me ask you this question.
And one of the things on the list is not a problem anymore because we don't put lead in gasoline anymore. Anyway.
I remember having to go to the gas station and choose unleaded.
We still have regulations for lead in the atmosphere, even though that's not a thing anymore.
So let me ask you the most important question. I'm going to get to the core of this issue. Do you think the EPA was right in Ghostbusters, or was Aykroyd right? No? Okay, Aykroyd was right. Okay.
No. I've not seen the original Ghostbusters, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's okay. I didn't see it till like 3 years ago. So,
I've seen the Kristen Wiig one.
Okay, that's good. Love Kristen. Love Kristen. Look, here's watch the original one because you raise interesting ideas because the EPA is made out to be the villain. You're not making the EPA the villain. You're just talking about the issues, and it is truly this middle of the '80s Reagan era sweeping gentrification, get the aliens and ghosts out of this city of ours and the government out of our business, Aykroyd fantasy with the heart from Ramis. So maybe you should go over that, watch that movie, and then teach about it in your class.
Rich T has a great suggestion. I'll do that when you watch Wicked.
All right. You don't have to watch Ghostbusters. All right. Brandon Hanna says the EPA was right to investigate the Ghostbusters, but wrong to shut down the containment grid without proper research. There you go. Okay. That's the answer.
Thanks, Brandon. I
there you go.
The back. Also, for anyone who's wondering, my rant about the EPA was incited by a recent Supreme Court decision. Go look it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I avoided news most of the day. And one of those
Supreme Court Clean Water Act. Go look it up.
Okay. All right. So the
or
EPA
don't live in ignorance because that might be better.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes, when people say, do you know what's in that food you're eating? What's that?
I don't mean that facetiously, Ken. Sometimes it's better.
Oh, yeah. No, hey, you know what's in that hot dog you're eating? A tire. I don't care. I don't care.
Don't want to Don't want to
I eat dinner at gas stations. All right. It's there you go. All right, Addie, thank you for the 60 seconds of science. There's some hope in there. There's some things we're learning, and let's be worried about the butterflies. I like that.
Let's be worried about the butterflies, and let's be happy that apparently my extra X chromosome does something.
You and Romo gonna win in the end. Love it. Thank you, Addie. Let's hang in there and find some more hope next time out.
I do my best, Ken. See you later.
Addie, love it. Love the 60 seconds of science. I wish I was just smarter. That's why you got to have people on your team who can see the world bigger, better, and wider. That's people like Addie. Jake, yeah, Ken eats dinner at gas stations. My dude, I do. It's some of the best food. All right, what do you want? I like meals in cars. I don't apologize for it. Let's check. We got Jared on the phone here in a second, but let me check here if there's been any more answers of what's a food dish you think you love, but it ends up being too much to handle. Jared, okay, we're gonna talk to Jared about this one. Cashews. I think that's a great answer. And 8984M says pancakes. He's right there with me. It is pancakes. It's because they're pretty, like a good stack of pancakes with some fruit and whipped cream and some syrup slowly dripping off of it. That's a sexy picture. That's what I want on my breakfast table. It's too much. It's too much. Top of the hour, we should have some sports. Steve calling in here, as he does, producer Steve. That's coming your way. I think Cal's in the hopper as well. I should do Chris King says pancakes or nachos. The nachos, I don't agree with. I can clean out a plate of nachos, unfortunately. You want to call in the show, become a channel member or a supporter on Patreon at patreon.com/catnapzok. Really helps the channel stay afloat, so we appreciate that. But also, beyond that, you call in, and you know what? We get to interact. You get to call in. You get to have your voice heard, and I love it. I'm thinking I might get some hot chocolate tonight. Anyone? I might go down to 7-Eleven and get some hot chocolate. And yay or nay, you guys let me know. All right. Also want to highlight in this time of stress, don't forget to meditate. And my buddy has Blue Star Meditation. Check it out at your favorite podcast spot. And relax. Cake with a lot of frosting, I think, is the answer. Big Lou says, "I fear no food." That's good. LQ and Cam saying I should get some hot cocoa. Oh, that's another debate. Cameron Stewart says, "Yeah, kid, fuck it, get some hot cocoa." I do call it hot chocolate. I don't go for the hot cocoa. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a West Coast thing, just how you were raised. It's go with it. Go say it how your heart takes you. But hot chocolate is how it's called in this house. Ugh. All right. I'm delaying this because I know he's going to yell at me. Here's Jared.
I never
Jared,
yell at you. I strongly opinionate.
Jared, the TIE pilot, is here checking in from a cold East Coast, right? A little cold where you are?
Actually, well, yes, it would be cold to you because it's in the 50s,
Yes.
but it's been like 10 degrees lately. So this is what 50 degrees is a fun temperature in New England because when it's 50 degrees in October, we are bundled up and all clothed up. Now that it's 50 degrees in March, I have shorts on and a t-shirt.
Okay. I look when I spent that time in Johnson City, Tennessee, Kingsport, Cal. He hears it. He hears the call. It was like 25 degrees one day, and I was walking around with a t-shirt, and I was like, "Why does it feel different out here? This feels brisk and refreshing." 60 in LA. I'm like, "Get my hoodie. Where's my slippers? I'm never leaving the house today." So I don't know. Kingsport, Cal's reporting in 35 degrees right now. All right, Jared, what have I done to you today? Have I pissed you off? Where are we going?
Well, first you will watch DS9 one of these days, but that is not the topic for now. We already know that I will beat Addy at this.
Oh yeah, so it's DS9 versus Wicked. The advantage is Wicked is a movie because I'm not going to go see the play. Let's be honest.
I get one episode, I'll consider it a win.
Just one episode. Oh, that's
45 minutes.
And the challenge, I saw her in chat earlier talking about one of her meals she makes. I saw Jed Miro in chat earlier. You know, she still hasn't provided me the list of like her 3 to 5 must-watch DS9 shows.
She on Blue Sky?
She's on Blue Sky. Yeah.
Well, don't worry. This mission will succeed.
And then all right, and then Miro, aren't you making some pancakes so I can have if you're so good at it. All right, Jared, I can cede the floor to you.
All right, we're sticking with Ice and Fire again because I'm just on a rewatch bin and I'm loving it, and I miss Casterly Talk. So it's actually we got a topic for today, but I'm pre-warning you. I'm going to make you pick up where we left off on the GOT rewatch segments that you were doing. Because the next episode was the Mountain and the Red Viper.
Yes.
So next week on Thursday, I'm going to call in after rewatching that particular episode.
So next week. Okay.
Yep. But this week, I want to know, what are you, pick one of each. What is your favorite thing that GOT proper did different on the show that you like better from the book? And vice versa, with a storyline from the book that was better than how they handled it on the show.
Okay, so something look, I love the books. I joke sometimes about George R. R. Martin. It's loving. It's done with passion. Very thankful for the world that man created. I just want him to finish it. And sometimes I get grumpy, as I've said here before. I just think I don't know what's going on. I just think there's a little bit of like retooling because he wants to do something different, and I don't know. But then it starts getting into conspiracy stuff. So let's not worry about that. The one thing that jumps to mind that's way better on the show, way better, is Harrenhal in season 2. Season 2 as a whole is a better edit of a great book, but that second book has a lot of stuff that meanders to me. The whole the Night's Watch north of the Wall, even the discovery of the obsidian weapons, the dragon glass. Like, it's better in the show. It's just concise. It's to the point. Yes, you want more space in a book, and it's great. But but the Harrenhal stuff with Arya Stark and Tywin remains some of the best moments in the show. And a show that is big action and dragons and fire, really. It is often about 2 people talking at a table. Those are the scenes that stand out. So season 1, I always go to the Cersei Robert wedding conversation that was added to the show, and I think added on a reshoot if I remember correctly. Arya Stark and Tywin Lannister is not in the books at all, and the Harrenhal stuff is much like a lot of the books when George is maybe firing on not all cylinders. It's too much, and there's the brothers and then I just remember reading it going, God, I wish I just had Arya and Tywin. So I'd go with that. Your thoughts on that?
I that's a great addition because I'm with you. Season 2 is one of the more rewatchable seasons to me. I just love how it just picks up from everything's starting to slowly crumble and the cracks forming and the chaos ladder going up and just
Mm-hmm.
that's a good one. But the one I
Mm.
thought of before the call was actually considering your man, Mr. Jorah Mormont here, Sir
Yes.
Jorah Mormont, and I liked in the show them giving him grayscale as opposed to not having him have grayscale in the book. Still a difficult journey in the book, but
Yes.
the grayscale just adds, I feel, more of it to him.
Yes, and it's John Connington that has it in the book, and I like it. Yeah, I like all that stuff. Put a pin in that. But yeah, I thought it led to being a Jorah guy, just that that wonderful heartbreaking moment where he's just like to Daenerys, like, yeah, I got the grayscale, and she's like, you go find a cure, and it's a heartbreaking moment, and I order you to find a cure, and I, as much as I love season 8, season 7, I do think he returns too fast in a way, and that's part of the show speeding up there. I understand that criticism, and it's not lessened for me, but it is just kind of like 1 or 2 episodes. And I love that it connects to Samwell and Samwell's connection to his father. That all works for me. It's just
it's brilliant.
It's just too fast, and I did want some of that Game of Thrones steadiness and slower pace. But I'm with you on that. That's a great example. All right, so what's one that I like better
now,
in the books?
Yeah, and I'll give you my examples just to give you the idea.
Please.
I missed Lady Stoneheart when again, it's not the show is definitely magic light compared to the book, but Lady Stoneheart is just that's a great part of the read.
It's amazing. Yeah, I'm going back. So I was hanging out with a friend on that finale of season 4, which would have been the Stoneheart season, like if they had done it right, roughly, and give or take. But basically, it's 4, and it ends. And we were both kind of on the edge of our. We're on a couch watching this together, hanging out, and she was a book reader, and by this point, I had got ahead of this. Season 4 was the first time I had read book before season, right? So I was sitting with my friend in a hotel room months earlier or weeks earlier when Oberyn was fighting. And my friend's like, Oberyn's going to kill him. And I'm just like, and we both cried in a dark Vegas hotel room. Not the first time that's happened to people.
Oh, God.
But anyways, it didn't happen. And we both were like, end credit. And that was a dividing point for this friend who from that point on kind of turned away from the show. And for me was like, okay, we're doing something else, and that was the Last Jedi dividing point too, where I was like, oh, I didn't expect this stuff with Luke. I like this, and I like it better, and I like going this way than the other ways. And there's a lot of other great ideas that you could have used for the franchise. I always like a lot of the what ifs. I'm not interested in them. We went this way, and that was the moment. That was the dividing line where I definitely it would have been the shot heard around the world. Imagine that shot of Stoneheart on screen or something like that. Talk about viral moments. It would have been great. So, but I don't. This is not I disagree with you because they could have found a way to do it. But also, one of the effects it had. I don't know if it had effect with you. Is then I kind of went like, oh, I guess in the books it doesn't factor. It maybe not cheapened or lessened the impact going forward in the books. But also like, oh, I guess it doesn't matter as much. You know what I mean?
I can see that because a friend brought it up to me with this argument, and it clicked really well for me. It's the Tom Bombadil argument from the Lord of the Rings books to movie. Like, it's an amazing chapter. Tom is a fascinating character. Token lore heads will tell you how much we love Tom, but putting him in that movie would have meant nothing to the story other than confusion as why is this random guy putting on the ring and giving it back like it's nothing.
Yep. And I'm not super familiar with the book side of it with Bombadil, but I've heard and watched a lot of things. And I love him in Rings of Power season 2, by the way. I think he's great. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Thematically, it was a sacred cow, and people didn't want him sliced off there. But it's good. All right, so quickly here, the one I'll say, it's a little more it's bigger than just one moment or one scene or even one season. I do understand why, especially I think in the end they mismanaged the Sand Snakes a bit on the show, and the producers have come forward in other books there and talked about maybe we should just not have done it. I don't know. Like they didn't have a handle on it. Fair point. That aside, I got why they did it with Tyrion. I got how it played out. I like where we go with it in the show. But the Tyrion going down the river with young Griff, old Griff, a maester, everything about that was wonderful. I loved it in the book. And, you know, did you want to have him, if they had done it, it would have been 2 seasons of Tyrion hanging out with like disease-riddled, corpulent masters. Like it wouldn't have been super exciting. But I do love the book version of that a little better. Heading down the run or whatever.
Oh, it's just that is a good read because Tyrion's such a little shit in the books. I love it.
He is. That whole sequence, yeah.
Oh God. And just I feel like if they didn't get an actor like oh my God, why am I blanking his name?
A Dinklage? Oh, you talking about Tyrion? Yeah,
no,
Peter
Dinklage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if they didn't get somebody like Dinklage, who is not just an amazing actor, but also a very pretty man and charismatic out there, they would have done more book accurate and sliced his nose off and made him far more spiteful, I feel like. But they had the audience fall in love with the little whoring drinking man of season 1.
Yes. Well, and I do love that one little throwaway line of Cersei. Was it after the Battle of Blackwater? Like, oh, I heard your nose got cut off. Like, I just love that. Addie yells, Dinklage is in Wicked. All right. You sold me. Sold me. Beautiful, Jared. Wonderful stuff. And like I said last week, please continue to call in. But Alden and I, Casterly Talk is not dead. Okay, it's going to come back like Lady Stoneheart.
I will never believe it's dead.
It's
you
good.
Could go
it's not
10 years before an episode, and I will still say no.
We'll be in touch. You've inspired me. You've inspired me.
So I saw her in the chat. Romo, get back on Casterly Talk too. We missed your
Romo
voice
was
there.
great on Casterly Talk. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Sounds good. Jared, thank you very much. I appreciate this.
Stay safe, my guys.
Thank you, Jared, the TIE Pilot. There you go. All right, we are at the top of the hour here. We will be having Super Blathers coming up here, and I do want, this isn't so much of a question, but it is a generous donation from Chris King. Go get some hot chocolate, Ken, and thanks for letting me rant about Shakespeare. I appreciate it. Was that the first Shakespearean rant we had on the show? It would, Chris, maybe next time, write it out in, what is it, in the, what is the pentamic, blah, 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 just do that. See, I read comic books. I didn't read Shakespeare. There you go. Jamie has a question watching on Facebook. Shout out to people who watch live on Facebook and on Twitch. I still see you. I think Scott up there. Yeah, I saw Scott on Facebook earlier as well. I appreciate having you on those different platforms. Jamie says, House of the Dragon worth the watch. I've seen all GT and GOT, enjoyed it. Yeah, short answer, Jamie, absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth it. It is of a similar but different vibe. I think season 1, it makes some decisions it has to with the cast and telling the story in one season. So you don't spend a lot of time with individual cast members in these roles, and I found that to be a bit jarring. And Miguel Sapochnik, one of the co-showrunners of season 1, is a great director. He's someone who has directed some of the biggest moments in all of GOT, Hard Home On, the battle up at Winterfell, some of my favorite stuff. I think he's a bit of a dour man, and I think he's a bit serious. And season 1 lacked some of the. Season 1 of House of Dragon lacked some of the spirit that Game of Thrones had. It's not going to be the same characters, but I thought it forgot that one of the best elements of the show was the humor. It was the Hound. It was Arya. It was the connections. It was, as Jared said, this whoring, drinking scoundrel becoming a hero. And the character's a little bit different, but I thought some of the approach, there's humor in season 1. There's some warmth. There's some great character stuff, but I sometimes felt it was too dour. Season 2, I think it improves on that. Ryan Condal, Sapochnik left. Condal has a show by himself. And I think they got to some of that. And you get to spend more time with the characters and the actors in those roles, and I thought it was good. So anyways, there you go. And that. Brenna asks, what are my opinions on Dune? Never seen it. Any version. Never read it. Any version. Iambic pentameter. Thank you, detective. Thank you, detective. Yeah. There you go. All right, let's bring him to the show. He is ready. He's got luxurious locks of hair. If you're watching, if you're listening, and you've never seen Steve's hair, go pay your respects to the hair. Steve, welcome to the show. A lot to get to. How are you, buddy?
A lot to get to. Thank you so much for having me, as always. Appreciate the love for the hair. We conditioned today, so we're looking good.
Let me be clear. It's half love and half jealousy.
It's a lot of work, so it's not for everybody.
Producer Steve is here. Where are we going, buddy? We got a lot to get to, I know, and I mean that in a good way.
We've got a lot to get to. I'll try to not take too long. Let me know how we kind of want to start this out. We've got Thursday, our sports speed date. So this week we have rugby, so we can do that. I've got some bells and whistles for that, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Here's what we're gonna. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Jared says, "Here's $2 for the hair." Let's do some sports.
Okay.
Let's do some sports, and then at the end we'll reset, and then the other segment you got planned tonight, we'll get to after that, so we can transition out.
Okay.
I think some sports is in order. Hit me.
Sports first. All right, good. Let's go. Let's do sports news, and then we'll go to our sports date. So first thing, some NFL news. Man, I need a bed for this. That's the next thing I'll get a bed for. So Seattle's wide receivers are leaving town. Lockett is gone. DK Metcalf wants to be traded.
Right.
Joey Bosa has been let go from the Chargers. And happy birthday to Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel, 42 years young today.
42.
So that's in the NFL. In baseball, Yankees pitcher Luis Heel is out 3 months with a lat strain. Condolences. And Stanton is still dealing with those elbows, getting platelet injections, so he's not happy. So hopefully he's ready for the start of the season, but it's not looking good. And then also the last thing in baseball, this is my favorite. So an 11-year-old a couple of months ago pulled a rookie 1-of-1 Paul Skeens jersey card, and it is going to auction this week. The Pirates reached out to him with an offer originally that he turned down. Their offer included season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years, a meet and greet with Paul Skeens, 2 Paul Skeens signed jerseys, and a Pirates game with Livy Dunn and her suite, plus other stuff. The kid said, "Eat it. I'm going to give it to Fanatics Collect and get my payout." So good for him.
I think, oh man. I think the lesson learned from the past, if you get a card that's valuable in the moment, take the money. Take the money.
Absolutely. For sure.
You can get season tickets. He's 11. He might not even care who Livy Dunn is. I'm 48. I don't care who Livy Dunn is. I know who she is. But Skeens did shave his mustache, right? Does he have a mustache still?
I hope so. He can't shave that mustache, can he?
I think he should have, or at least grown a beard. I wouldn't have spent any time with a man with that kind of mustache. Kidding. Okay, kid smart. I say this, so this is what happened yesterday. Okay, this is the whirlwind that happened yesterday. I was in my storage. I sold another set of Star Wars figures, so I was in my storage pulling them out. And I was like, where are those? I had some cards that I know I had in there, some sports cards. I was like, because I got all these sports cards over here that are for Sports Card ASMR, and those are ones I've gotten in the last year or two. And so I started digging, and I found it. And I can't get it here. I should have thought ahead. I didn't know we were going this direction. I have a plastic tote over there. And I was like, oh, here they are. It includes like 9-card set of Minot Rayom, the first female to be a goaltender in the NHL and in pro hockey. And I was looking for that and this and that. Found some Mattingly, some McGuire's. I found my Jerry Rice rookie card.
Wow.
I have a Jerry Rice 1986 Topps rookie card. It's been in a hard case, double-sided with the 87 Topps Jerry Rice. So I put it in there, both cards in this hard case in 1987, and there they have stayed since 1987, okay? Found them. I was like, let me just look. So I went to PSA. A PSA 10 Jerry Rice rookie card is going for $75,000. So I thought I won the lottery. I I reached out to Mark Ellis, who's got some of his Magic the Gathering cards at PSA, and I was like, because it's expensive to get it rated by the PSA. You might have to drop a couple thousand.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I know
And,
it's expensive to get them graded.
So, but in my head, I'm like, what? But that's fine. I'll just swipe a credit card. Just swipe a credit card. I don't have one. I don't have one open that I can do this. And then I'll go to auction, and then I'll make, even if they take a cut, I'll come away like $60,000. I went back to it. It is not center cut. There's no way it's a PSA 10. It's at best a PSA 9, maybe an 8, and my heart sank. So if you get a card that's valuable, sell that shit. Get it out of here.
Yeah.
Get it out now.
Get it out while you can, while the market is hot. I don't know how much this card is going to go for or what they're speculating on it, but a similar in rarity Paul Skeens card went for somewhere around 60 grand. So this kid's going to make out like a bandit.
Woo, look at that. Anthony at Force Ghost Conversations. Family's prized possession is a 1927 Babe Ruth card worth $25,000. The value is one thing; it's getting someone to pay is the other thing. I know, but the PSA handles that. All right, interesting. Yeah, the Yankees are rookie. That was a rookie of the year pitcher last year. To have him out, not a good sign already. But at least everyone on the team can grow a beard. Of all the sports news, Seattle wide receivers dumping all that stuff. The fact that Mike McDaniel is younger than me as a head coach in the NFL, I haven't wrapped my brain around that yet.
He's good too.
He's great. I like him. I'm happy he's got one more year. Chubb's coming back, which sounds like a giggity, but it's not. Yes, absolutely. JMB says, yeah, Manu Rayom played for Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah, she did. She actually played. She broke the barrier. She played in the preseason for Tampa Bay, and then I don't remember her getting back in the regular season, but she played for a lot of professional men's hockey teams in the NHL system, so to speak, Atlanta Knights and everything. So, groundbreaker indeed. All right. Yeah, there you go. What was the other thing? Sorry, I lost train of thought. I'm still thinking about that Jerry Rice.
No, that was it, man. We had the football, we had the football, the baseball, the cards. That's it. Those were the big things this week.
The big thing and the date. We're gonna have our date. What are we doing?
We got our sports date. So, all right, here we go. Let me set the mood, make sure that this works appropriately. So we're gonna get the fireplace in line here. Steve's gonna sit up in his chair a little bit. So
okay, love it.
Final little piece. Let me know how this sounds. We got a little. I do have a music bed.
Oh yes.
I hope that's just
okay.
Just light and in the background. Just
let me get my prop cigarette that is still here at my desk from a voice acting thing I did the other day.
So, this week's sports speed date. I'm
okay.
Like laughably too high on this thing. There we go. This week's sports speed date. Rugby.
How you doing,
you a rugby
rugby
fan? You know anything about rugby?
I have a couple former, not former, but old friends I haven't seen in years that were professional rugby players. Does that count?
That absolutely counts. Yeah.
Okay.
That's rugby adjacent. That's way more than knowledge. I learned everything I know about rugby in the last 50 minutes. So here we go.
Great.
Are you ready?
They were two Tongan gentlemen and played rugby professionally.
So we're just gonna go right there first. I don't have a graphic for it, but you already let the cat out of the bag. So there was a rugby player, and this is my friend Alex who told me this fact. There's a rugby player named Tonga Tonga. Do you know where he's from, Ken?
Cleveland.
He's from Tonga.
Good for him.
Yeah. So, anyways, here we go with rugby. So, the myth is that rugby started in 1823 when a student at rugby school in England, William Webb Ellis, allegedly picked up a soccer ball and ran with it. The first official rules were codified in 1845. I am still way too far down. And the sport spread worldwide. The Rugby World Cup is named the Webb Ellis Cup in his honor. So rugby union and rugby league, they're two versions of rugby. This still confuses the hell out of me, so ask your rugby acquaintances about this. There's rugby union, which is 15 players per team. That's what's used in the World Cup. I think that's the more widely known, more popular one. And then there's rugby league, which is 13 players. That's big in Australia and some parts of England.
Aussie.
That's weird. Just pick one, 15 or 13. But hey, whatever floats your boat, right? That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
One of the most famous rugby teams in the world is I'm still way too far. Is from New Zealand, the All Blacks from New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
They do the cool haka dance.
Yes, they do.
Or matches, as they're called in rugby.
Love that.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I think baseball needs that.
Baseball could use some of that. Or at least don't get mad if you flip a bat. Just something.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. They're very cool. That looks neat. So some stuff about rugby. I don't really know what a lot of this stuff means here, but here's some rugby positions and where they line up on the field.
Oh yeah, please. Steve,
on a speed date, right?
explain the positions.
I can't, Ken. It's one of those things, you just know it when you see it. I just know they're there, and there's things. Someone's a right wing. There's probably a left wing, a fullback. Oh, this is just like soccer.
It's just like soccer. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no goalie, no goaltender. Okay.
But there is, you know what there is though? There's trying. So a try is a touchdown. That's worth 5 points.
Yeah. Okay.
A scrum, things get real dirty. A chaotic but kind of structured restart where players pack together real tight. It's like a basketball tip-off mixed with a hockey face-off, but we're all locking shoulders, so very intimate. And then there's the thing called the sin bin, which is rugby's version of a timeout. Rugby's dirty.
Rugby's a dirty sport.
And really, one of the most interesting things I think about rugby is that there's no forward passes.
No forward. Right. Okay.
You can go backwards, you can go like sideways, but you can't go forward. You can kick the ball forward. So that's why you see people kick in rugby to either pass the ball forward. Essentially, you can kick it, or you can also bounce kick it into the uprights for points.
Right.
So,
for points.
For points, yeah.
Points.
Like I think you get 3 points. I think if you get it through the uprights, but you have to bounce the ball apparently. Someone in the chat is going to correct us on this. I took rugby because it was a suggestion from the chat, so hopefully someone out there knows what the hell is going on and can make the necessary corrections. But this is our first date, you know. I mean, it's going to be
first date. We're getting to know each other.
It's going to be tough. Yeah, we're getting to know each other. You know, we don't
feeling it out.
Exactly. It's exploring a little bit, you know, but we're being vulnerable. So
I love it.
And then speaking of, you know, if we're going to be timely with our rugby, this is the perfect time to get into rugby. The Six Nations Cup is what's going on right now. It could be all but decided this weekend as the champions are really squaring up between Ireland, France, and maybe England. Ireland and France play this weekend, so this is a huge game. This is like the biggest game in international rugby this year. So check that out if you want to give a little dalliance with rugby this weekend. And then next week is the actual final where all the teams play again, and it's a tournament based on points kind of thing. You know, so like a lot of other international sports. But yeah, that's rugby.
Man, that sax is smooth, says Nick. It's great. It's great. I want to go back to the beginning here. And the guy who created rugby, or is allegedly, much like, I'm sure, Abner Doubleday creating baseball, which is a myth and a lie. Maybe it's not 100% true. But you said he just decided one day to pick up the ball?
Yeah.
Was it in another game? Was he playing?
It was a soccer ball. He was playing soccer, and he just picked up the ball and started running with it. And they're like, well,
it was like,
can't do
catch me, mother truckers? And then started coming up with the rules?
And I'm guessing someone tackled him after that,
and they were like,
rugby.
"Oi, mate, that's pretty fun then."
It took them 20 years to get the rules together, apparently, and it was at rugby school, so I guess that's where the name comes from. That makes sense.
Okay. I love that. Okay, Rads, who knows rugby very well, says this: rugby is a war of attrition type sport, not the most instant action type of a sport. That said, big up Northampton Saints. And Peter, you're right. I need a briar wooden pipe. I do have one somewhere. All right, I love this. I've always respected the sport. I don't, much like cricket or stuff. You know, you're not raised with it. You don't necessarily understand it. But yeah, it was about 20 plus years ago when I was working in my early days of security, and then as security director in 2007. A couple of my employees, professional rugby players. It was fascinating to hear him talk about it, the culture around it, the traditions. Again, one of them, his name was Okalani. He was a Tongan, and just the tradition all through it. And I love that, you know, you got all the different areas of rugby and their own kind of traditions and cultures. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. I love it. You know, maybe we do a second date with rugby down the line.
We'll see. I mean, it's a good weekend to give rugby a shot. I mean, with the tournament that's going on, it's always easy to, you know, we'll wrap ourselves around a flag, pick one this weekend, and
there you go.
You know, see what happens. So, good luck.
I love it. All right. We did it. We dated or went on a date. Didn't date.
We introduced ourselves to rugby.
Introduced ourselves to rugby. But that is not all, Steve. From sports, we transition to a little life, the universe, and headlines. Where do you want to go here today now?
Yeah, so thank you. I usually I appreciate you letting me out of my sports box here for a moment. The news obviously has sucked lately, and I think between the foreign policy disaster that was last Friday through the State of the Union this week, I just and this really was spurred by what I told you about earlier with Elon Musk essentially attacking the concept of empathy. Stated something along the lines of empathy being a weakness of Western civilization, or our empathy or our affinity for empathy and whatever, right?
And the sin of empathy that some in the churches have put out there as well.
And so I took this opportunity to just write a little something that I wanted to share with the people, because I think in this time it's important that we don't shy away from empathy, but embrace it. And so here's what I put together.
Go for it.
The cultural impact of line must always go up capitalism, reaching into every facet of our lives, is supporting the idea that our world is only about haves and have-nots. We are losing our sense of the social construct that allows for the luxuries we enjoy and take for granted. The ultra-competitiveness that dominates our financial success is a crazy perversion of our instinctual competitive nature. Does competition exist in nature? Of course it does. But what defines your success is truly adaptability. We've created these constructs of worth on ourselves and try to conform the way the world works to support this narrow viewpoint, that your contribution to the economic machine and your votes for who turns the cogs are somehow all that matter. I promise you can't vote harder, but please just vote. Losing our empathy is to lose what makes us stronger as a species, and it abuses our intelligence and self-awareness. Our empathy is a beautiful part of what makes us human. Don't take that for granted. Be brave. Care. Ignorance and anti-intellectualism is being weaponized in our society. The very least we can do is care. Don't sweep the apathy that you see from friends, family, and people in your life under the rug. I'm not saying to advocate for violence, harassment, or even annoying people, but pick your spots and just say something. Don't get me wrong, I'm just as mad as most progressives at the total lack of action, or hell, even a concept of a plan to combat the absolute crazy bullshit we're seeing from our government. Holding up ping pong paddles isn't going to save our democracy. So no one is coming to save us. We have to start with the little things for each other. Embrace empathy and give a shit. If you have someone in your life that's not into politics or doesn't follow the news, all I'm saying is to care about them. Show them a little light wherever you can find it. Be excited about something positive. In a world where the literal oligarchy and unelected bureaucrats are telling us empathy is weakness, just remember, your value to this world is not determined by your ability to produce capital. No one exists illegally, and everyone deserves the right to live in their own body and mind as they see fit. Be good to each other. It's a hell of a lot easier than whatever the fuck we've been doing for the last month.
Well said, Steve. Well said. Wouldn't even want to cheapen it with fake radio applause, as normally we do on this show. Love what you said, buddy. Absolutely stand by it. It speaks for me in this show, and yeah, it's a political comment you made there, but empathy to me and compassion and caring for others, or just giving a damn, like you said, giving a damn. Like I said at the top of the show, where 5 years ago I spoke on the coming coronavirus with indifference, based out of what's the worst that could happen, and not plugging into what could happen to people and what did happen to people. And it shook me and it changed me. And I think you're talking about concepts that we must hold on to, even in small ways, and I think that's a good way to go. So well said indeed, man. Well said. It's been tough. And it's been tough to hear that kind of stuff. And going back also to the conversation I had with Chris about the concepts of masculinity and how it's so easily misconstrued. And I don't know, I'll pitch it to you, man, putting you on the spot a little bit of we're roughly raised in the same time frames here. I wasn't raised poorly in the sense of go take and conquer. I was actually raised with a father, and by a father still, who has a very kind heart. So I took those lessons, but even then it is like you're a vegetarian now, or you're not going to eat meat like a man. Like that kind of stuff is just everywhere. And it does lead to what you're talking about, this ultra competitive kill or be killed attitude that I just don't think has to exist. I just don't think has to exist all the time, at least. There's competitiveness, there's survival, there's wanting to be better. I do think competition breeds things better. I want to improve myself. Absolutely. But this win at all costs, stamp everyone else out, ha ha ha. Empathy is a sin, is a problem.
Yeah, yes, that's the easiest way to put it. Empathy being a sin is a problem. What you said we weren't raised wrong. Like the generations before us aren't evil necessarily. Like this, our public discourse has changed in the last 15 years. I mean, I don't want to get too all lived out on you, but my personal opinion is Barack Obama getting elected just broke a lot of people's brains, and things just haven't been the same since.
Yep.
But the public discourse has changed. Our ability to talk to each other has changed. Our ability to debate has changed. And by not caring, by losing empathy, we're dangerously close to losing the last little bits of the social contract that keeps us together from can we at least get along and listening
from the purge.
to each other. I mean, I'm not like conspiracy theorist person thinks everything's going to turn to violence kind of thing. I'm not,
No.
but
Right.
You're naive if you don't think people aren't getting hurt. And
Yes,
we're at that point, and it's scary. And as someone who lives really close to DC and is seeing these impacts and how it affects our local community. My wife's an educator, taking bets on when is the Department of Education going to be folded by a piece of paper.
Soon.
So.
Yep.
Thank you for letting me out of the box, Ken. I appreciate it.
We're always going to let you out of the penalty box of sports. Sports isn't a penalty box. No, I appreciate it. And yeah, look, even just our love of sports, I've spoken often that the sports could teach you a lot of important things. And I think everyone should have at least some exposure to sports. I know it's not for everyone, but it gets so perverted and so turned around that I understand that people are like, yeah, no, I absolutely hate that because I hate the people involved. And it's hurtful. It's destructive because we take the idea, the only lesson we seem to take from sports as a society is the win and not the journey, and not the teamwork and not the growing, not the lessons and the personal growth and the personal discipline, the winning being what is a bonus to it all. But we take the win, and it permeates everywhere.
And the fact that the losing team is still part of the league, they're still part of our community. They're still people who lose the elections, who lose the games. They're at the gas pump next to you. They're in the restaurant. We have to share all this together. So we got to figure that out.
Which means we need an alien invasion to bring us all together, because that's what happens in every movie.
That might do it, or because we can't even trust the giant rock anymore, according to the movies. So
we can't trust it. We can't trust it. Steve, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking us on a date, and thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you so much for the time, Ken. Appreciate it. Take care.
You got it. Steve, check it in. We love hanging out with Steve here. A couple more calls left today, and then I think it might be time for me to go. So let me answer a couple questions right here, right now. And then we'll get to some calls, and we'll roll through the calls. So if you're queued up for the calls, get your questions ready. We'll get to it. And then I'm going to go get some hot chocolate. Chris King, Spyberry, open comment. What is the last movie, TV moment that made you cry that wasn't Star Wars or GOT related? Hacks. Hacks. There's a couple moments in Hacks that have got me, and season both season 1 and season 2, all the way through it. There's some really moments of growth, pain, compassion, loneliness, and I think a lot of it has to do with what's going on in my own life and what's going on in the world, and I think it's a fun show, and I'm enjoying it, and it's just kind of a casual, warm watch. But there's a couple moments when people learn things or people show up for each other that I've cried. That's the most recent answer. In terms of big stuff, man, it isn't Star Wars or GOT. I don't know. Finale of Cheers. I just recently watched the finale, the final moments of the Cheers finale. So sorry we're closed moments and all that stuff. It's emotional stuff. Emotional stuff. I'll have to think more about it. Laserbolt says, Ted Lasso makes me cry tears of joy. Shrinking, says Rats. Shrinking is on my list too. I'm not saying I'm putting it above DS9, Jared, but it's on there. That kind of stuff there. And Cam says there's an episode of DS9 that ripped my heart out a bit. I think that's true. I think it's there. All right, let's get to some calls as we finish the show here. We're going to welcome to the show our buddy Brennan Marr, who is checking in, buddy.
Oh.
How are we doing? How are you feeling? What's on your mind?
Good. Pardon the noise. I'm getting used to a new ventilator.
Oh, no. Please.
Yeah.
Get use.
The last thing that made me cry was watching the finale of MASH.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now, you talking about in the 80s or just recently?
Well, I've been binging it lately.
Lovely, lovely. Where are you watching it on? What's it on?
Yeah. It's on Hulu, I think.
Ooh, okay, okay, all right.
But interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know me. As soon as you mentioned that some moron in the government
Mm-hmm.
and churches referred to empathy as a sin.
Right.
Well, you know me, Ken. I
What does that make you feel, Brett?
don't take kindly to those kind of sentiments.
Love it. What's
If
empathy to you?
if anybody says it's a sin and say they're a Christian, boy, you guys should go back and read the Bible.
Yeah.
That's what I say to that.
Yeah. And
empathy, I mean, to me, it's Jesus has empathy, and
right.
if we're supposed to be like him, then we gotta have it too. And
yeah,
the idea that there are people out there saying no empathy, I don't know what. I don't know what's going on here.
So, almost at times celebrating the lack of it. That's kind of where it rubs me even more the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But on a lighter tone.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Andy's here. Yeah.
What does your family have any like films or shows where you quote it to each other as an in-joke?
Not yet. No. Yeah, no, because not anymore. Growing up so my mom doesn't watch a lot of pop culture stuff and hasn't for a long time. And then my dad, we'll watch some things across the board, but I just don't talk to him in that way often. But back in the day, I mean, yes, growing up with just movies in general or TV shows, it's always sometimes weird to say it, but we were big fans of the Cosby Show. A lot of people in the 80s were. The numbers were there, of course. And so moments like that, laughing at those kind of moments, sharing those moments, little lines. One of the lines I say it sometimes in life, but it's from not Princess Bride. Well, Princess Bride was one we had a shared experience as a family, but Father of the Bride, we're big Steve Martin fans in our house. And so Father of the Bride, but it's actually Martin Short, where sometimes we'll just be like to my dad or something, like, because my dad would complain about the prices or something. We'll be like, "Welcome to the 90s, Mr. Bonks," and we'll just kind of do that kind of stuff. But we didn't. But MASH, we used to watch MASH when I was real young. I remember sitting down and watching some MASH. I don't remember all of it clearly, but we didn't share quotes and stuff like that. But yeah, so for us, it's not a shared experience. But for you, what's the one for you?
Oh my word, we have so many in our family. Star Wars, Star Trek, Princess Bride,
As
The
you
Emperor's New
wish.
Groove.
Emperor's New Groove. That's a wild card.
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful.
And
Yep.
I think the list, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
I think the list just goes on and on.
Yeah. My parents didn't see that.
Many. I mean,
that's great. That's great. I really
crazy.
love hearing that and love hearing that for others. Yeah, and it's not that it's something I'm missing in my life. But yeah, we don't have a lot of share.
Got it in the chat there.
Yeah.
What's his name? Cusco.
There you go. Alan Smith, he says he used to quote the Burbs with my dad. Red Rover, let Ray go over. That's so funny. Yeah, and a lot of other things like that. See, I don't even see. I don't get it. I don't get the reference. It's you might as well be making a Wicked reference or a DS9 reference. Brennan, thank you so much as always for coming in and
watch DS9.
I'll get there. I swear.
And just to be clear, I talk a lot about Christianity here, but I also believe in science, so listen to science, and particularly on this channel, listen to Addie, because she's always right.
Listen, there you go. I don't know if Addie's still, I know she said she might have to go to bed early, but listen to Addie. She's always right. It's the truth. Brennan, thanks for calling in, and thanks for standing up for the right things always. Okay, buddy?
Thank you.
All right, Brennan, Mystical Mar, check it in there. And you're all just quoting things from a movie I've never seen. There you go. Let's bring in our most favorite, number one basketball fan here, but he might be talking about anything. 8984M, a.k.a. Brady, a.k.a. Kyrie, a.k.a. our friend. How you doing, buddy? What's on your mind?
Hello. Just drying up from the rain.
Yeah. You're out and about. Unintentionally, or intentionally, like me, who just went in the backyard and stood in the rain for about 5 minutes.
I have classes, so I guess intentionally.
Okay, well that's good. Don't skip school. Don't skip school, young man.
Skip school, kids.
What's on your mind, buddy?
Yes. Wait, I just lost my train of thought.
Okay, I'll fill it in for you. The best number 2 in basketball is Scottie Pippen. True or false?
Number 2.
I don't know.
I mean, they're one of the best duos, but
I mean, Jordan's number 1. Jordan's number 1.
Jordan's pretty good, dude.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Wait. Speaking of basketball, I think I remember what I was going to call about. Also, shout out to Steve. That was beautiful.
Beautiful
essay.
stuff, Steve.
Yeah. And this is nowhere as beautiful as that. But after the Oscars, you were talking about a Winning Time, right? And how that was unjustly canceled. I completely agree. It was a wonderful show, very funny show.
So
good. It
good.
was just starting to rev up, and then they just got the axe. Like Kersey Zavalov, but
it's just I could go on and like, as you all know, I'm not like a huge basketball fan, but I grew up at the Showtime Lakers around me, and some good friends who were big fans. But the show is just it's so much more than sports, and it's so powerful in moments that it gets into the 80s culture and what was going on, and just a lot of the issues that we're still dealing with now, and again, the good side, what I consider the good, though sometimes aggressive side of sports. That speech I shared is Adrian Brody is Pat Riley, and it's one of my favorite moments in the show. And I'm not endorsing. I know Brody's kind of an interesting cat, to say the least, and
Riles too.
I'm not here to endorse an actor here, but it's just such an amazing moment, and it just was such a loss because the show begins with the moment that you were building to in 1992, and then it goes back to late 70s, early 80s, and just knowing that we didn't get to experience that. It's history, it's real life. There's a great book, Showtime, by Jeff Pearlman, which is the series is based off of. But anyways, it was a loss. You got me going. Yep.
And I think the moment, I don't think it's much of a spoiler to say that's the moment when Magic announces that he has HIV.
Yeah. A day I remember vividly. So.
Yeah, I think people at that time thought that he was actually guaranteed to die because.
And I know South Park did the big joke about money and everything, blah blah blah. Yeah, no, 100%. Part of just the reality, part of also the hysteria and the lack of education, and again, the hysteria. To hear that, it was like I got in the car. My mom picked me up from school, and we were all talking about it. And it's like, oh, he's gone. It was a weird, bizarre, surreal day, and I wanted to see the show get to it and deal with it.
Yeah, man, that's.
Yep. There. All right.
Anyways,
all right.
The question was.
Question.
If you were to have a Winning Time like show about your favorite team, whatever period, right? What would it be?
Well, there was a show that I thought was underrated called The Bronx is Burning, which was about the late 70s Yankees, based on a book. Highly recommend that. It wasn't as good as Winning Time. I think it's an ESPN show when ESPN got into scripted shows for a while. That football show that was going on, but they had The Bronx is Burning, which was a pretty good show. So I like that. But in terms of a show around teams that I love, you could. Oh, I'll tell you. Yeah, no. The 1986 Mets, which is another Perlman book, How the Bad Guys Won, is a great book. A friend of mine, we were having a conversation about that. She was pitching a show. I think I remember that. And I was like, that is the story. The 86 Mets. You got everyone infighting. You got drugs, sex, rock and roll. It was truly how the bad guys won. And that's what I'd go for.
Well, that is interesting. And it doesn't need to be like multiple seasons. Like,
no,
just one season, 10 episodes.
Chris King got it. Playmakers. That was the football show on ESPN. It absolutely.
ESPN had scripted shows. That is.
Yeah. Look it up, Brady. You got to look it up. And I think I think it's Collateral. One of my favorite films, Collateral. Grace and I were just watching that recently, and they shot it. It's like mid 2000s. And Playmakers, a big ad for Playmakers is on a wall in a building, and I was just laughing like, oh, what a in time moment of that show and them doing that. Check it out. The Bronx is Burning. Great show. Brady, thank you for the call, my friend. I am going to start to wrap things up with one more call from Cal, but I appreciate you checking in the rain.
And thanks for having me.
Brady calling in there. We're going to shout out our buddy Brandon, who shared that we're good luck. He says, Ken, you're good luck for me. I just got called in for work tomorrow and called for a promotion meeting, all in the span of your stream. There you go. We sent the vibes out to Brandon. And meanwhile, while you're here, help him out even more. That's right. Head on over to his Substack and get some good information, entertainment news and opinions from Brandon T. McClure. Check it out, Bitching About Nothing on Substack, or just go to btmcclure.substack.com and support him even more. Good soul right there. JMB says, I keep hearing good things about Collateral, but I've yet to watch. It's one of my Ken Napzok late 2000s top 10 movies. Anytime you wanted me to rank a movie, I'd put that in the top 10. There you go. All right, final call of the night. Then I'm going to go dance in the rain, but here he is. We love to have him in brisk Kingsport, Johnson City, Tennessee, the Tri-City Zone. Cal, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, what's going on, Ken? How you doing?
I've had better days, but Cal, it's ended wonderfully here with you all.
Well, I don't know, man. It's been a good day. I want to tell you. Well, I told you earlier, or you know what I'm saying. I told you I got your book, Ken.
Yeah.
Very, very surprised. It came relatively quickly.
Which is interesting because I send it with media mail, which every time I go, can I send it media mail? They're always like, oh, it's going to take a long time. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. It gets there in days.
No, so it was quick. It was quick. The best part, I love the cards that were involved. I only looked at them once because I put them back in the plastic because I want to keep them, Ken. Just like I kept the pics, it's like I kept the stickers. Well, I got one sticker on laptop. What?
So here's Cal. This is what I want. I want you to know how much that I adore you and love you and care for you. Because anytime someone orders a book from me on my website that is a personalized one from the shop, not the Amazon link, I always try to throw in other things, stickers, things I have, cards, actual cards from my collection that are Star Wars cards. But you got that's the last public set of my old trading cards. Those are yours. That's a collector's item. Put that in the Hall of Fame.
That is amazing. Well, I'm glad I put them back in. I took them out, looked at them, read them once, put them back in the little container that came in, and closed it. So,
it was. Yeah.
You should have signed those anyway.
But they were in the plastic. They were in the plastic. Yeah, those are designed.
They're in the plastic. Yes, I put them back in.
Perfect. Yeah, those are designed by the wonderful Brian Ward, and we worked out it a few years ago. And I'd love to do another set of trading cards. I just think it's kind of, I don't know. It doesn't seem right to do a set of baseball trading cards about me in this day and age. It just seems like a little bit too much praise me.
You don't have the characters now. It made more sense with Napzok File. That's why I loved it. I was like, oh wow, I forgot about all this. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, yes, this is So it made sense. That's why I immediately put it back in there. But anyway,
yeah.
Okay.
What's on your mind?
Great. Your gift was great. I got a couple things here before. I do have a question. I know you're trying to go, but I mean, come on, you still got at least some time.
I got time for you.
Wait a minute. You got time for people. Listen. Now you remember you remember not too long ago, Ken. Remember when I was talking about Ken? you was on the Wangers and I was off and it was my birthday. Remember that?
Yeah. Okay.
That was last year, Ken.
Wow.
Yes, that was last year.
Ago.
That was a year ago. My birthday's in March, man.
Happy birthday.
In March. Well, not yet. My birthday's in March 25th. But I'm just saying, that was a year ago. And it seems like not too long ago. Time flies. What I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But speaking of that too, I went today. Where was I at? I was at Dollar General. I was getting some stuff.
Okay, we're just gonna run through your day. I love it.
Well, no. Because I'm going to talk. This ties into the birthday thing.
Okay.
I was at Dollar General. I was just getting whatever.
Yeah.
And I switched it up, Ken. I switched it up. You know, I don't know if you know. I'm pretty sure you do know. I'm a big PBR drinker.
Oh, okay. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Okay.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
If you puncture me right now, that's what would come out.
Okay, but, that's also what they did to Jesus. We're not going to do that. Okay.
I don't know about that, but yes. Okay. I got but I bought some mineral. Anyway, I bought some beers.
All right.
And
all right.
And the woman looked at. She asked me for my ID.
Oh, okay? Beautiful.
Well, whatever. But when in my wallet, it has a little line right there where you can only see the 19, and then I have to move that little flat back so you can see that. Okay. So wait a minute. I don't have to pull it out. This is the thing. I pull.
Cal, I'm not going to tell you when you should pull out of things, but this might have been the time.
That's not what that's about. That's the time for that, and that's not the time for that. Depends on how much you love that person. Now, here's the thing. She doesn't have to see. I don't have to pull it out. I don't have to pull the ID out if she can see. I'm glad you asked.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to prove a point, though. You don't have, if she can see that 19,
okay,
she doesn't have to see the rest of the ID. If she can see the 19 in my picture, she doesn't see the rest of the ID.
Cal, you're 100% right. If maybe she doesn't do the math right.
Last century. I was born last century.
You got to be 21 years older, which means you could have been born in 2004, right? You're 5. You'd be all right. 4.
Yeah, 19 is all you need, is all I'm trying to say. You should respect that I don't show the other half. Only because the window in my wallet will not allow me to.
Okay, I'm just saying next time, be more prepared to pull it out, all right? You've spent most of your life prepared to do that. This is the time to actually do it.
Except for once. Yeah, except for once. But anyway.
Okay. But, all right, is that your question? What's your question? I got to go.
No, that's not my question.
God damn it. God damn it. What's your question?
Well, I do. You got at least 13 minutes, Ken. You can.
I don't got 13 minutes. I don't got 13 minutes.
I do want to say.
I got a Chihuahua that needs dinner. Are you going to feed Franny?
Oh God! Oh my! You make it. You have a dog over priorities of your fans, Ken.
Yes. Do you think I'm not going to feed Franny?
Lives better than me. I'm sure that dog lives better
that Chihuahua. That Chihuahua lives better than all of us. Let's be honest. All of us.
Anyway, y'all pet owners. Anyway, okay. I'm not. I was going to try to do a quick recap, but I won't.
Do it. Time out. Don't get butthurt here. Do a recap. I'm demanding you do a recap.
All right. Well, Chris King called, and he was talking. Oh, and like you said, that was the first Macbeth that I know of spoken on this.
Right.
So that was very deep, and that's cool. He's inspiring kids, and that's really great. Mm-hmm. Addie says, "Oh yeah, you stole Addie's whole thing with your butterfly stuff." Okay. Jared still talking about this Game of Thrones stuff, which I have no idea about. I never even watched Game of Thrones. Okay. Steve with the best thing he's ever done, the sexy rugby.
Sexy rugby. Steve with empathy. Got it.
That was amazing. Yeah, yes, the empathy thing was amazing too. Yes, but sexy rugby was great. Brennan, the new ventilator, if you're still here, sounds great. It's amazing. It's quicker. It's nice. Okay. Anyway, it sounds good, and of course, everything about Jesus as always. Now,
everything about Jesus as always.
No, it's very poignant. He makes good points that people aren't talking about. Anyway,
now,
The question is the only thing I can come up with.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I also did want to say a lot of teachers watch this show, or people are
We have
affiliated with
we have a
teachers.
lot of we have a lot of educators and educator adjacent people here. Yes.
Yes, which is a good thing.
Okay.
Which is, at least
It's a
I
great
know
thing.
smart people
Okay.
watch it.
Ask your question. Ask your question.
My question is, what is up with the since I'm on the east, you're on the west. What is up with this East Coast West Coast divide from your perspective? And also, sub question: Why do we forget about the Midwest?
The flyover states. I agree. It's a problem. I don't know the entire history of the East Coast West Coast divide. I think there is a chip on our shoulder a bit because we don't feel as respected by the East Coast. The East Coast, it's older without a doubt, at least in terms of the United States of these Americas. Let's just focus on that right now. You think you're older. You think you were the cradle of our civilization here. It all started over there. The Manifest Destiny, which clearly not morally wrong, took us over here. And then look, I'll look at it in terms of sports. The West Coast teams, other than the Dodgers, get ignored, overlooked, and it's a time zone thing. You over there in the snooty East Coast, and you're not East Coast. The snooty East Coast, you're all in bed when the Angels start playing, so therefore you just don't think their players are as good as the players on the East Coast. It's like people like Jared the Tie Pilot probably didn't think Wally Joyner was a great first baseman growing up when he was an absolutely great first baseman. You just didn't see the highlights. So that's the divide. Then I think on the East Coast there's a little bit of jealousy because our weather is way better. Our time zone is way better. You get things done earlier. You can watch the Oscars at 4 p.m. and not 8 p.m. Or 7 p.m. And so I think that translates into a little bit of the reason for the snootiness, at least in this modern day.
All right, Ken. Well, I'll accept that answer. Okay. And I will see you sometime next week. Go feed your dog. And I hope everything is well. Yeah, I've seen that.
They're going to go feed our dog for us. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. All right, Cal, I love you, right? Proof was in the package. I sent you the last Napzok collector trader cards in existence.
Well, now that I know that, Ken, I will. Well, I've already put your book in a Ziploc bag and airlocked it because I'm never going to read it. No, I'm just kidding. I will, no, seriously. After I read it, now that you told me about the cards, I might just put it together and fucking Ziploc it and keep it.
Perfect.
In case one day you ever get famous again.
I appreciate it. One day, buddy, I was famous from 2016 to 2019, and then that was it. It was over. Okay, people knew who I was. I used to get stopped. I used to get stopped here in my hometown. No one remembers me, and I'm part of the old internet, and that's okay. Thank you, Cal. All right.
And I'll see you later.
See you, Kingsport, Cal. I love him. Laserbolt normally on it. The man behind Forest Meats. Football's way too early on the West Coast. Laserbolt, you got to try having a nice omelet at 10:02 a.m. while watching your football team. It's delightful. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you all checking in. We'll be back Saturday night and figure it all out again. Go be nice to someone tonight, huh? That'll be a good idea. We'll see you next time here on the Blathering. Bye.